Hmm. So, this tweet I just saw. Apparently somebody dived into Kavanaugh politics, and this is just my friendly response. Okay. Got a lot of heat for your last video. You dove into politics. Welcome to the real world. Let's watch this. Oh my. What did you do, girl? Tacos are tasty. What did you do? Now, let's see what you did. Roll 'em.
My name is Jesse Milestone, and I usually don't weigh in on Washington politics.
Oh, problem number one. Yeah. Oops.
But as we stand here on the precipice of confirming Brett Kavanaugh as the next Supreme Court Justice to the United States of America, which is almost certain to happen tomorrow, barring divine intervention, I just have one question. And that question is, what the actual fuck, America? Because, in response...
Should have turned the webcam on for this. Yeah, what the fuck? Go ahead.
To the question I posed in the title of this video, the answer is unequivocally no. No, this man is not qualified.
You gonna give us reasons?
For this position, and I can explain this to you without even discussing the sexual assault allegations.
Alrighty,
so if you've been following anything that's been going on with soon-to-be Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh, you know that he underwent rigorous interviews, etc., even prior to the sexual assault allegations, and then another trial, which was essentially just they interviewed one of the women, and they interviewed him and talked and whatnot, and he demonstrated.
I thought it was supposed to be a job interview, not a trial. This was not a trial, but it ended up being a trial. I wonder why that is. A bunch of Democrats wanted to just stonewall shit? What do I know? I'm just a peon.
Without a doubt, in that process, I mean, this was what a fun opportunity. What a great test to put him under immense scrutiny. He's going to be in a position where that's going to happen. There's going to be intense scrutiny.
Is this sarcasm? I really sometimes I can't read you, girl. Are you being sarcastic or are you being legitimate? I don't know. Sometimes I really don't know.
There's going to be pressures from both sides. There are probably going to be personal attacks against him. That's just the reality of the job that he's signing up for. And what a great way to test him to see if he's ready. And the answer is a resounding no. And you don't have to take my word for it. You really don't. Following that testimony, the American the board.
The Borg? Did you just say the Borg? The Borg? Resistance is futile? What the hell, Jesse?
American Board Association. That's the one.
The Bar Association? The Bar? The ABA? That's probably what you meant.
Decided to reevaluate their initial assessment of they gave him their stamp of approval. Yeah, he's totally qualified. They decided in light of his temperament, specifically his temperament, nothing that he purportedly did or not did, but his temperament alone is causing him to reevaluate whether or not they truly think he's fit for that position.
Are you talking about his temperament in hearings where some lady accused him of sexual harassment and he got death threats for him, his wife, and his kids? And so did Ford, by the way. Let's not forget that. What? He's not supposed to have feelings for his wife and his 2 daughters? Really? Jesse. Are you a moron?
over 2,000, I think something like 2,400 law professors have stated that they do not think, based on his temperament, as well as his extremely partisan record and his extremely partisan testimony.
Temperament. Here we go with the temperament stuff again. You get accused of sexual harassment, and you get death threats for your wife and your 2 kids. What would you do, Jesse? Let's just play devil's advocate for a minute. I see why this video pissed a bunch of people off. This is constructive criticism. It doesn't mean I don't hate. It doesn't mean I hate you. Constructive criticism.
That he is fit for the position of Supreme Court Justice. Former Supreme Court Justice, this is incredibly rare for one of them to speak out on this, John Paul Stevens, who, by the way, was instated by a Republican and who had previously spoken in support of Kavanaugh, stated following the testimony, based on the partisan speech he gave, looking at his partisan track record, and, of course, his insanely emotional testament.
And again, we're back to this. What would you do if your wife and kids were threatened? What would you do? You're going to politics to explain this instead of to emotion. Instead of to actual real life to explain it. Come on. I see what happened here.
Testimony that he is not fit to be a Supreme Court justice, that those questions seriously and deeply...
This was personal. This was not a Supreme Court case. A personal attack on a dude. Would you be this way if it was a personal attack on a woman? I honestly don't know. I'm just rambling on at this point.
They need to be asked. And beyond that, beyond the issues of temperament, we're talking Supreme Court justice. You're someone who needs to be level-headed. Emotion should have nothing to do with it. Your job is to institute the law. And when things get...
So you want people, human beings, to just shut down their emotions. That's incredibly dangerous, in my humble opinion.
Heated, or if things start feeling a little personal, if you can't continue to separate the emotions and the practice of the law from your feelings, you have no business being in that situation.
That's never going to happen. Never going to happen, Jesse. Do you think Elena Kagan separates her emotions from the law? Sotomayor? Or any other Supreme Court justices? That's incredibly naive, in my humble opinion.
Situation. I would have felt much more sound to see a Brett Kavanaugh have gone through that testimony, just laying out the facts starkly and without passion, without rage, without any of that. That is the way a Supreme Court justice should act. I mean, not saying that they shouldn't.
Obviously, you weren't around in 1991 when people went after Clarence Thomas, and he had to give the high-tech lynching speech because it was all partisan hackery to go after Clarence Thomas because he was a black conservative. Let's just say that right now. Let's get that out. Say that right now. Clarence Thomas broke the narrative. All black people should have to be Democrats, right? And he was a threat. Okay, so this is all partisan hackery. I'm sorry, it is. And the Democrats are worried they're going to lose the Supreme Court. So by any means necessary. I don't believe in by any means necessary. Do you, Jesse? Do you believe until guilty until proven innocent? Because that's kind of what it's sounding like.
Have passion, but I'm saying that when you're asked to speak, to weigh in on an issue, you should be fact-based. You should be logic-based. It shouldn't be emotional. It shouldn't be defensive.
We're not talking about him making Supreme Court decisions on emotion. We're talking about him being accused of sexual assault and getting death threats to his wife and kids. And him. Yeah, you're going to be emotional. I'm sorry. You're wrong, Jesse. You're wrong.
It shouldn't be angry, and it certainly shouldn't be partisan. Your job as a Supreme Court justice, and this is an incredibly important part of American government, the Supreme Court is meant to temper the incredibly partisan branches.
I see why everybody's giving you so much heat. I get it. I'll send you this privately.
Of Congress and the presidency. That's what's That's what is just supposed to happen. And this man is clearly incapable of doing that. There have been numerous articles written regarding, because of that partisan track record, because of certain issues he has been heavily involved in as a lawyer and a justice, that he actually should, there's like a myriad of different...
The law is partisan. It's going to be that way. There's no such thing as nonpartisanship, in my humble opinion. I am a joke.
Issues that are likely to come to the Supreme Court that he should technically be recusing himself from if they come his way. Tons, to the point where it's why even put him in this position. But guess what? He's not going to recuse himself. Of course not, because the man has no integrity. How do I know this? Because he lied under oath. I am not, again, not talking about the allegations, but plain and simple, he lied about his drinking habits, his behavior, about the meaning of things written in his yearbook throughout school. He flat, bald-faced lied, and multiple classmates have come forward to say.
He didn't lie about his drinking habits. He said, I like beer. I like beer. I like Ike. Said he liked beer. Said he drank. And as far as his, what? The one question about, do you drink? Did you ever black out? He was like, do you? I forget what senator it was. It was a cute lady with brown hair. Yeah. What college kid doesn't drink in college? Jesus Christ.
So, including 3 who identified as his former drinking buddies.
Ooh, the guy has drinking buddies. Wow, that should preclude him from being on the Supreme Court. Jesus Christ. I see where this is going. I see why you got criticism.
By the way, had nothing to say about the drinking behavior. That was not for them what disqualified.
What does the drinking behavior have to do with sexual assault? The woman couldn't say how she got to the party, where the party was, whose house it was, how she got home, who took her home. Sorry. No. Not you. I see why you got the criticism. You went on the beard angle, the drinking angle, instead of the sexual assault angle, because the sexual assault angle has pretty much gone to pot. It's just, I don't even know how you describe it. It's just gone nowhere. It's gone nowhere because Ford can't prove it. Let's get through this. I see what happened.
Him or what upset them, and nor I don't think that drinking to excess during your undergraduate years or even your grad school years to an extent, provided that you did your work and got your grades, precludes you from being qualified for a position like that. I do not care what you did when you were a dumbass college student. We all did dumbass things as college.
I thought we were talking about sexual assault here, and now we're talking about drinking. Are you a prohibition person? Because I know you're not. I saw you drink the other night. Come on.
Students, but man, have the balls to own up to it. You know, don't sit in front of the American public and lie through your teeth about your, oh, I never blacked out, I never got this drunk, oh, this is what this thing means, this is what...
It doesn't mean he didn't lie, it means he didn't want to answer the question, because it was a politically motivated question to try and destroy the guy. It's just that simple, Jesse.
What that thing means when you have classmates, the people who wrote the damn things in your yearbook coming out and saying, that's not what I meant. That's not what those words meant. When you have your 3...
They pulled up his yearbook. This is the reason my senator, Senator Graham, went off on a tirade earlier this week. You're dragging up a guy's yearbook when he's, 17? Are you fucking serious? Bruh. No, no. Nah, girl.
Classmates from Yale coming out and stating unequivocally that they are appalled that you're being nominated for the Supreme Court based on the things you said because they went to a school whose motto...
In 1982? 81? 82? Oh, by all accounts, it's 82. What the fuck, Jesse? How many years ago was that? Were you even born then?
is light and truth, and you embody neither of those principles, because as they stated, he completely misrepresented himself in that regard. And again, they also spoke to his overly emotional testimony and how, I mean, these are people who studied and practiced law. Their job is to know about these things.
Now, yeah, study and practice law after high school.
And they're stating this guy is not cut out. He shouldn't be doing this. They were incredibly, these are his former friends. These are people that he would get hammered with on the weekends. These are people who probably, that between Kavanaugh and them, know tons of secrets and whatnot about each other. And they felt compelled to speak out and say that he falsely represented himself. He lied under oath. And lying under oath is unforgivable in that type of position. Unforgivable. Hilarious too, by the way. Speaking of, again, this partisan track record.
Again, I say, you think Sotomayor or Elena Kagan is a partisan? Really? Okay. Are you going to address that?
You're talking about, how are you expecting bipartisanship? How are you expecting to start nonpartisanship? How are you expecting a man to be nonpartisan when he was one of the people who spearheaded the efforts to impeach Bill Clinton, who ironically was nailed to the wall for lying under oath? So, I mean, what does that tell you? This guy's gonna crucify, and the Republican Party as a whole is gonna crucify one man for lying under oath, but totally gets a pass and appoints to the highest position of government another one. I mean, that just speaks to how broken.
I don't think he lied under oath. Bill Clinton clearly lied under oath. He lied to a grand jury. This is the reason he got disbarred. He can't practice law anymore.
The system is right now, how utterly corrupt it is that the Republican Party could stand behind this man. And don't get me wrong, Democrats, I'm not saying that they're any better. I'm not saying that they're any less corrupt, they're any more moral.
Thank you, Jesse.
They're any less greedy than the Republicans. They're not. The difference right now is that everything is the Republicans' fault because they control Congress and have a Republican president. So essentially the Democrats
So when the Democrats get into power, it's going to be much, much better. Right. I really believe that.
No matter what they're doing or saying, are basically been relegated. They have about as much power as a child having a temper tantrum in their room. So yeah, right now the Republicans get to sit on that blame. If the Democrats ever get the White House back,
I think you're having a temper tantrum in your room. But then again, that's your shtick, so run with it, girl.
They can try to do better. I doubt they will. Okay. The problem is, and it made crystal clear through Brett Kavanaugh, the problem is partisanship. That is the problem. We need nonpartisan voices. We need independent lawmakers. We need people who are not beholden to a party, to an ideology.
How exactly do you have nonpartisanship? You cave on your principles to the party, and you'd end up losing. How exactly does that work? Nonpartisanship. Political parties will always be partisan. You'll figure it out in another 10 years or so.
To the point where if they make one misstep or do one thing that shows disloyalty or that they're not towing the line exactly, that they're cut out and they're ruined. We need people who are not afraid to stand up to their party, who are not afraid to have integrity, and Brett Kavanaugh is not that man. Just not. So screw you, America. You're throwing yourself in the toilet right there. I mean, what just an appalling failure of the justice system. What an appalling failure of the checks and balances of our federal government. I mean, it's just abysmal. It's just pathetic. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a bachelorette party that I spent several weeks planning to attend. And if I'm quiet over the weekend, it's because I'll be doing that and going to a rehearsal dinner and a wedding. So that'll be fun.
Go have fun at your bachelorette party. Go have some beers. Like Brett Kavanaugh.
I'll try not to think about the misery that is our entire government system. So, always...
It's a good point. The entire government system is a misery. We have to watch. To quote Winona, this may be a shit show, but it's our shit show. You like that, don't you?
Curious to hear your thoughts. Always curious to hear what you have to say. What do you think is the thing? Because we're not even going to discuss. If you think Brett Kavanaugh is qualified for this position, I don't think I need to hear your perspective unless you have an answer.
Well, you're going to hear my perspective whether you like it or not, because I'm just doing a video on it. I mean, you're sitting... Come on, Jesse. You're bitching because everybody hated your video. I'm just trying to give you some constructive criticism. If you don't want to watch the constructive criticism, then... Well, I don't know how to help you.
For the fact that he's ridiculous. Like, I don't care. Like, oh, he wants to vote for a thing you agree with. Who cares? Right? If Hitler was reborn today and was like, I believe in this...
Oh, I knew there was going to be a Hitler reference. Bash the fash. A bunch of communists getting... Oh, that's another thing, Jesse. When Kavanaugh is confirmed, I guarantee there'll be riots. Tim Pool said this. I happen to agree with him. There'll be riots, or at least minimal, really violent protests over this shit. But, I mean, you don't endorse violence, do you, Jesse? Whatever. I could be wrong. Tim could be wrong.
I believe in this one cause that you also believe in. That doesn't mean that you should frickin' vote for him or support him. Doesn't make him qualified to do the thing, but just because he hits on your button issue, on your personal pet issue. So if you are, what I want to hear is, what is the thing that you think makes Brett Kavanaugh least qualified for the position he's about to entail? And guess what? If you think he is qualified, again, I don't need to hear from you, because he's going to get nominated. He's going to be the next Supreme Court justice. That's just...
Again, you're going to hear from me anyway. Because I was like, you're like, everybody's giving you hate. I kind of wanted to watch the video and say something about it. But whatever.
It's the freaking way it is.
For God's sake, grow your hair out and tie it back in braids. It would look good. I think. What if you like your hair being short? Whatever. It's still cute short, but whatever.
Because this entire process is not up to the American people. It's actually been incredibly transparent, not incredibly opaque. It should be transparent. We should, as the people of this country in a democracy, should have the right to know what's going on behind those closed doors. We should have the right to know more than just a little tiny snippet here and there of this or people's opinions on how thorough the FBI report was or was not. We deserve that as the American public, not all this sneaky BS.
At this point, I can't decide whether you're being serious or trolling.
And expecting us, to just be in the dark and trust our lawmakers. Guess what? I don't. So if you're happy about Brett Kavanaugh, good for effing you. Shut up and enjoy whatever the hell he does to this country over the next God knows how many years he's in appointment. But if you are smart like the rest of us and understand that this man is entirely unfit for this position, tell me what you think makes him least qualified. That's all for me today. If this pisses you off, I really don't care. Otherwise, if you like it, share it with people. Share it with stupid people who don't understand things like how the judicial system is supposed to work. You can love Brett Kavanaugh and think he's a swell guy and think he's the greatest dude ever, but he's not fit to be a Supreme Court justice, and that's just the reality of life. So that's all. That's it. That's all I have for you. I don't know what else you want me to say. Like I said, I'm going to go enjoy my weekend and not think about how stupid this country is. Hooray!
Okay, translation. Jesse, I think you got into politics. You don't normally get into politics. You normally get into Star Wars.
Hey, Legal Eagles, it's time...
Stop. You normally get into Star Wars. That's what we like to see. Don't get into politics if you don't know what you're talking about. That's my differential diagnosis, I suppose. Anyways, have a nice day, girl. And we do appreciate you. We just disagree with you.